What's good, G Life? This right here is California, Cali. You already know California is gangbanging capital, home of gangbanging, where it originated out of. Um, and in Southern California, as many know, it is home to hundreds and hundreds of different barrios and thousands of documented gang members. So, with so many different gangs within the region, you're gonna get barrios that tend to sound the same, overlap each other's names, or um, have the same name for that matter, but are different neighborhoods that started in different locations. They were not aware of each other and just happened to have similar names. So often do these barrios get confused for each other. So I always get people that ask me, hey, is this the same hood and that hood? So we'll be starting today by covering some of these neighborhoods that tends to happen to. So without further ado, let's get into it. Street raised, I was brought up with a G state. Peep game, those who didn't catch one to your brain. Stay in your lane, never wolfed it, boy, I never fake. Watch them break, watch them fall, still I remain. Never change, never try to come and rearrange. Never hate, never tripping on somebody's plate. That shit is lame, leave that type of shit for the dames. The streets don't play, yo, catch up, watch your life as capes. One game, homie, that you shouldn't play. There's real soldiers in the streets gunning every day. This shit is normal in the vital part of every day. It ain't great, but I'm loyal, so I'll never change. I keep repeating, but I mean it, never lose your way. Heed the warning and the missing just for talking brave. Fuck my enemies, two faces and all the snakes. Now for this matter, just name the time and name the place. We'll get it active, fuck the gap, and I'm in face to face. Real gangsters never fold, then we never shake. I was brought up to.
You are now watching M.O.D Entertainment.
Now, we'll be starting off with the ones that get confused the most, and the one that I actually get asked for a lot more than the rest. For this one, we actually have to be maneuvering and traveling to the area that is known as South Central Los Angeles, bro. You already know South Central is definitely an area that's chaotic, that definitely pops. It cracks in South Central, my boy. And this is home to the neighborhood that is known as Barrio 13. B13. Barrio 13 is a neighborhood right here, like I said, originated out of South Central, but they do have different branches of their neighborhood. You have the West Side Barrio 13, East Side Barrio 13, and then the South Central Barrio 13. But they're all the same. These are all the same. They just have homies that move to different parts of Los Angeles, establish and recruit. And you already know how that goes. But it originated out of the South Los Angeles portion area. And this neighborhood, at least from what I was told, has a few hundred members to them. I was even told that up to the thousands. I don't know if that's true or not. But at least more than a few hundred members to them. So they are known as a large neighborhood, and they did start around the 1970s when this barrio was established, and it was due to the fact these they had a lot of homies that were coming from Mexico and South America and stuff like that, and they would get picked on and stuff like that. So they banded together and formed this barrio, out of protection from other more larger established neighborhoods within the area. And they established right there by El Segundo Boulevard and Main Street. That is where they originated at. That was their home base, their domain, their dojo. And these guys do keep it active and do things, you know what I mean? Because they have even been hit with gang injunctions and all kinds of shit, you know what I mean? And been hit with sweeps, for pretty much everything in the book, narcotic sales, shootings, murders, allegedly, everything in the mix, bro. So these individuals do, tend to handle business because they do have a lot of conflicts because they beef it with a lot of other barrios within the area. They beef it with a lot of Compton barrios and they beef it with Bagos and, Gardinas and the Psychos and all kinds of different barrios and even with black neighborhoods. So, it's very chaotic within that area when it comes to, these individuals, but they handle business. Like I said, they hold it down for their neighborhood, and it is not the same as the other neighborhood that we'll be covering. This is the Barrio 13, real individuals that are still functioning. They're still an active neighborhood, and they still do their thing and continue to put theirs on the map and do their thing. It is a real barrio, and, they do it, you know what I mean, right there in the South Central. And like I said, they are established in the west side and the east side of Los Angeles, but originate out of the South Central portion, and that is where they have their larger other branch, because the other branches tend to be a little bit more smaller because obviously that's not where they originated from. But don't get it twisted. This neighborhood handle business, and they continue to still put theirs on the map. Now, to find the next barrio on the list, we actually have to be maneuvering and traveling to the area that is known as the SGV, the San Gabriel Valley. You already know the SGV is home to several different barrios, well-respected neighborhoods, old school barrios that have been within these areas for quite some time. Now, to be more exact, we shall be heading to the area that is known as Hacienda Heights. Yes, Hacienda Heights has neighborhoods. I was seeing in the comments people try to say that Hacienda Heights has no neighborhoods and it's a lovely area. Bro, it has barrios. You know what I mean? It is comprised of two different neighborhoods. From the Puente Happy Homes to the Barrio 13. Like the other one is Barrio 13, this is Barrio 13. One is with a B, this one is with a V. Barrio 13, V13, or it could be seen as VT, for the T for 13, obviously. Either one, is right. V13 with a C sometimes at the end of it, because the C stands for Chicos. And this is their home right here in Hacienda Heights. Hacienda Heights, has been the home to the Barrio 13 for quite some time, for a while, and this is a large neighborhood within this area because, like I said, the Hacienda Heights area, is just comprised of these two different barrios. So these neighborhoods do grow large in size and numbers. Not only that, but they also align themselves with another crew that was becoming a neighborhood, which stood for, EBS, which stood for the Eternal Brown Soldiers, but ended up becoming a clique off the Barrio 13, Hacienda Heights. You know what I mean? And this is their domain, their stomping grounds, where they hold it down in the SGV, a real barrio. Now, their territory consists of everything that's around the Manzanita Park, right there in Hacienda Heights. Those who are familiar. So all those back streets throughout Hacienda Boulevard and Vallecito, and to where the freeway's at, all of that in the middle is considered the Barrio 13's territory. They are a few hundred members to them. Like I said, large in numbers, you know what I mean? I was at least told that the barrio has more than 300 members to them. So we're talking about a pretty big size neighborhood. Now, there is another Barrio 13 that's located in Orange County. And I was told that it's the same barrio, you know what I mean? I was also told that they started in Orange County, but then I was told that they started here. And from homies from those barrios, you know what I mean? So take what you want from that, you know what I mean? That does tend to happen, certain homies, you're going to get different stories, it is what it is, because I get my info from homies from these barrios, so I could only go based on what they tell me, but, sometimes, we get different versions, so it is what it is. But yeah, the Barrio 13 is a real barrio that holds it down and represents theirs and puts theirs on the map in the OC and right here in the SGV. Now, to find the next batch of neighborhoods that actually get mistaken for each other, we actually have to be traveling to the area of South Central. Like I said, bro, South Central, just chaotic, bro. You already know it cracks in the SC. And this is home to another one of these sets of barrios that does get confused with each other. We'll be starting off with the first one, which is the Barrio BGS. The Barrio BGS translates to Barrio Bagos. That's Bagos with a B, Bagos. And Bagos is a neighborhood that has been well established right here in South Central. Not that old, you know what I mean? They're not that old school. I was told that they've only been around roughly since the 90s, that this neighborhood was established, the early 90s. I was told that it was a crew that then became a neighborhood, at least from what I was told. From what I was told is their barrio only has about 60 to 70 members to them, so they're not as large as some of these other gangs within the area, and that's due to the fact that, there's so many different gangs makes recruitment a lot more difficult. But not only that, but they're not as old school as some of these other, sets around this area. And their territory is around the 119th Street area, so that's their domain, their dojo. That's where they hold it down, where they, do their thing. And yes, this is the same Bagos, that's the one in the harbor area. In the harbor area, they also have homies that moved over there and established. So that Bagos and this Bagos is the same Bagos. Because South Central and the harbor area are not even that far from each other, so you can see why homies would, branch off over there and, start, recruitment. Homies are that way. Wherever they land, they expand, bro. That's just always been the get down. You know what I mean? That's how a lot of these barrios end up having conflicts and beef with other neighborhoods. Um, you know, that's just always how it's been. And yes, this is a real neighborhood that does still, hold it down and still has homies that represent for theirs and the Bagos and continue to put theirs on the map for the BGS. Now, to find their counterparts, we actually have to be traveling to Northern California, to the area that is known as Salas. Salinas, obviously Salas, shortened Mexican term of how, they say Salinas for the homeboy Salas. And this is home to, the other counterpart to the Vagos neighborhood, which is known as the Barrio VGS, which stands for Vagos. One is Vagos, this is Vagos, and they are located in the east side of Salinas. Now, the Barrio Vagos is actually, even though it's not as, the Vagos are older, because the Vagos started roughly around the mid-90s, they actually grew larger than the Vagos. Over here, these upstate, this is one of upstate Sureño's largest neighborhood, well recognized, well respected, have been hit with sweeps and all kinds of shit, made headlines. Bro, this neighborhood expanded far, past Salas. They ended up in different areas, of Northern California, such as Oakland, such as San Jose, such as areas like Tula County, in different areas where the east side, Los Vagos, branched off to Vagos, and not only in Northern California, but also in Southern California, and not only in Southern California, but they also expanded to Mexico and different states. So this Vago is the same as the other Vagos. You know what I mean? They get homies that get deported, and then those homies come back, but end up in different states, and then just begin recruitment process there, and the neighborhood expanded to a few hundred members to them. At least from what I was told, as this neighborhood is more than 450 members to them. Like I said, within Mexico, different states, and in Northern California, and even some in Southern California. And like I said, one is Vagos, this is Vagos. Just one with a V and one with a B, just like barrio and barrio. I had already made a video breaking down, the whole reason for that on here if you want to scope that out. But yeah, that's why these barrios get confused for each other, but they're not the same. And it's not that people are mispronouncing it or people are getting it confused. Like, they're getting it confused, all right, but for a whole different barrio. So when people try to say, nah, it's with a V, it's with a B, it's for that reason. They're different neighborhoods, you know what I mean? But they're homeboys, and they still hold it down for theirs and keep representing theirs and putting theirs on the map. Now, to find the next set of neighborhoods that gets confused for each other, we actually have to be starting off and traveling to the area of the A1A Valley, my hometown, the A1A, to the area of Van Nuys. Van Nuys / North Hills, depending which side you're coming from and entering. This is home to the barrio CKS. CKS is a real neighborhood that was established right here in the A1A, but expanded to different locations, but it's the same one. Now, the CKS translating to Barrio Crooks. Crooks is a neighborhood that started roughly around the early 90s, later 80s, early 90s when this neighborhood was established. It was roughly always a small neighborhood, you know what I mean, of individuals and they hanged out right there on Sherman Way, right there in Van Nuys, is where they, hanged around in those apartment places. They were just small, from what I was at least told, is that they roughly started around with 15, 20 members to them, and then just grew larger, with time going by. But they had homies scattered in different areas, you know what I mean? In Van Nuys, they had them scattered in North Hills, and to the area of the Antelope Valley, the 661, the Palmdale, Lancaster area, where they are located as well. They actually have established over there, planted their flags and represent for theirs out there too in the 661. So they're located in the 818 and in the 661. And it is the same neighborhood. The Barrio Crooks, Southside Crooks. For those who are familiar, already know what's up, you know what I mean? And from what I was at least told is with what they're set out there and the ones in the A1A, there are a few hundred members to them. Like I said, they were just always scattered around. But it is a real barrio, because I was seeing people try to say that they're confusing it for TKS, or that they were just a crew. No, they were a real neighborhood that was doing real things right there, holding it down in the A1A. People could say what they want, but they don't make it facts. You know what I mean? They are a real neighborhood right there in the A1A and in the Antelope Valley, the 661. And they still, are up. They're still established, and they still have homies that put it down for theirs and hold it down. You know what I mean? Despite what individuals want to say, I never come to fund it, bullshit, none of that. They really do their thing. As a matter of fact, they even have some music you can scope out. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's what's up with the varrios CKS, the crooks, Southside crooks holding it down for theirs. Now, to find the other set of crooks, we actually have to be maneuvering our way to the area of Anaheim. Anaheim is home to one of these other crook neighborhoods that gets confused, which is known as the Barrio SSK. SSK translating to Barrio Southside Crooks. But that's crooks with a K. While the other crooks is with a C, this crooks is with a K. And they have no relations to each other. This Southside Crooks, as at least from what I was told, is that they started off as a crew that transitioned into becoming a neighborhood. I was told that they started off as a crew in the Los Angeles area, and then, they had homies, that the crew got large because it was a very large crew, because that already had been around for a long time, you know what I mean? And they had members that were in Los Angeles and in the OC. In the OC, they grew in numbers a lot more larger due to the fact that it didn't have so many different, like crews and neighborhoods like Los Angeles does. So it allowed it to grow a lot more larger, a lot quicker. And like I said, this is a real neighborhood. But back then it used to stand for different stuff. But then they, when they transitioned to becoming a neighborhood, because, obviously the tagging turns into fights turn into, stabbing, shootings, and you already know, you know what I mean? It manifested into the neighborhood that we have, today, with a few hundred members to them. Yes, they are that large. Now, even though they started off right there in Bonnie Clyde, right there in Los Angeles, that's where it originated at. It is no longer right. You can't find traces of it right there in Los Angeles, but in the OC, they still have a large presence, and they still be doing their thing. It officially, is home right here, in the OC, even though they started over there. They're proud to represent Orange County and hold it down for theirs, and continue to put theirs on the map, because, like I said, they're still a functioning neighborhood that, keeps representing and putting theirs on the map. Another neighborhood that we have that gets confused and still remaining here in Orange County, but this time maneuvering our way to the area of Santa Ana. Santa Ana / the Tustin area is where we can find the Barrio LCS. LCS translating to Los Crooks, the bomb squad. The Crooks gang is a neighborhood, roughly a smaller neighborhood within this area. I hear often people say that they're a crew and that, or this and that. Now, they're a real neighborhood that has been established here since the early 90s when this neighborhood was established. Roughly a small barrio, at least from what I was told, about, 60 members to them. But real individuals that do real things, Los Crooks. Obviously, their signature title is the Bomb Squad. Like I have said, all these neighborhoods over here have a secondary name, and there happens to be the Bomb Squad. But yes, Los Crooks is a real neighborhood, and have no connection to the Crooks gang, to neither of the other Crooks gangs. That's why when people see that, you see the Crooks tattoo on them, or you just see a Crooks and stuff like that, you can see where the confusion might lie with the Southside Crooks. Obviously, the SSK Crooks put a K, but these guys spell it the same as the ones from the 818 and the 661. But they're different neighborhoods, have nothing to do with each other. It wasn't that they branched off or nothing like that. It just happens to be that way, where they, just happen to have the same name, except that these ones have the Los part attached to it. Los as meaning, Los Crooks, Los Ladrones, stating, who they are. Not like Los Angeles, but yes, but they are a real neighborhood and continue to still be here established and, planted their flag and continue to still rep theirs.